Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Mark Bergering. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and today I wanted to talk through some essential gear for adventure photography. So I brought my backpack in. I was going to run through a few items that are in there and kind of talk through some of my favorite equipment, what I think I would recommend to others, and yeah, let's jump in. So the first thing on my list is a solid backpack. This is the Shimoda Designs X30 bag. It's super rugged, waterproof, carries really well, but most important feature is this back panel access. So you can set your bag down in the dirt, in the mud, in the snow, and zip open this panel, and you have access to all your equipment without worrying about putting the bag back on and having this part all muddy on your back. So it's nice to be able to keep the dirt on the outside, keep your back nice and dry, clean, just makes things a lot easier. And then you have full access to your kit with just one zipper. I really like that. So in addition to a solid backpack, the first thing you're gonna need, a lightweight camera body. This is the Sony A1, which I'm testing out right now, but the Sony A7 series is a cheaper and great alternative. That's my primary camera. There's a bunch of different A7R if you want high resolution, A7S if you want video-centric features, or just the A7 IV if you want kind of a good hybrid. So a lightweight camera body that's durable. I really like Sony. There's great options from other manufacturers, but I just think that Sony provides the best combination of value and features. So in addition to a camera body, you're gonna want some lenses. My two personal favorites that I almost carry with me on almost every shoot, the 70-200 and the 16-35. Now, the 16-35 lives on my camera the majority of the time. It's my go-to lens. I really like the perspective that it gives, but if I wanna have a little compression, I'll bust out the 70-200. You can really isolate a subject and make it feel like that backdrop is really right behind them. I opt for this 70-200 f4 because it's lighter, it's more compact. Take the lens hood off. You can see this is a relatively small lens in terms of 70-200s go. If you go with the 2.8 version, it's quite a bit heavier, more expensive, and I just think that if you're shooting in, relatively well-lit conditions, this is going to work great. So in addition to my thoughts on this, you can also check out this video. I'll put a link above and down in the description of my review of this lens and of the 16-35. So check out those if you want to see more information on these two lenses. If I'm going to dive into some other items in my bag, I almost always carry a first aid kit, just something basic with some essentials. But what I think often gets forgotten is some of those kind of comfort items, things like sunscreen, lip balm or chapstick, maybe just some Advil, things that keep you comfortable. You're not often gonna deal with large incidents with a first aid kit like this, but you can keep yourself or your clients a little bit more comfortable than they might be. In addition to that, I always recommend people get some wilderness first aid training. I currently have like a wilderness first responder certificate, which is a little bit above that. But if you're going to be spending extended time in the backcountry, definitely at least get a wilderness first aid certification. Another thing I always carry with me, a headlamp, just having something, you're often out after dark, having something that has a good amount of output in terms of power and is relatively compact. If you're for sure going to be out for an extended period of time, definitely bring some extra batteries or even a backup headlamp because somebody on your trip will often forget one. Because I'm always shooting sunset, sunrise, I'm almost always throwing on a headlamp to get out to the location before the light or after the light is optimum. So headlamp, definitely recommend that. What else we got here? Some basics, memory cards. I like to keep mine in this durable wallet here. Keeps them protected, makes me feel a little safer about them. I have a power bank so that you can keep things charged, whether it's like a drone controller or your phone I'll talk about some apps that I think are essential on your phone, but keeping your phone charged up, there's always something that you want to keep charged up. So I recommend a small power bank. This particular one is from Goal Zero. I think they make a great product because they're just a little bit more rugged than your average power bank, and they have some onboard connectors, which is handy. Also in my bag, you'll always find some spare batteries. Scale that to your shoot. You may want just one, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, depends on how much you're gonna shoot and how much video you're shooting, because video eats up batteries a lot more than photos do. I always keep some lens cloths in here. A little filter kit keeps my polarizers or ND filters if I'm shooting video organized. I like to carry, especially if I'm shooting video or if I want to shoot stills of anything like stars or a waterfall or anything where you're going to get some motion blur, is a lightweight tripod. Now this is my super compact tripod. This is my go-to for when I don't really think I'll need a tripod, but I want to have one just in case. If I know I'm going to be using a lot of tripod shots, then I will bring a larger, taller, more sturdy tripod, especially if I'm going to be shooting video. One other item that I have here is a little sensor blaster thing. This is great if you get some dust on your sensor while you're out in the field. There's really no good way to remove it unless you have a blaster or some kind of cleaning swab or something. But especially if you're shooting video or if you're shooting high aperture, landscape type photographs, this will save you a ton of time in post. And with video, it's almost irrecoverable to have stuff in your shots. So make sure you have one of these. It'll save you time. So with that in mind, that's, as you can see, most of the stuff I carry in my backpack that's camera related. Usually I'll pack snacks, water, other essential items, jacket, layers, gloves, hat, that type of stuff. Depending on the season that I'm out, I'll have other stuff in my bag. But those are kind of the essentials. Now I wanted to also talk through some essentials that are a little bit less obvious. So these are some tools that I find really helpful for either planning a shoot or when you're out on location that can be really valuable. So phone apps, let's talk through those real quick. The first one that I use a lot is the Photographer's Ephemeris 3D, TPE 3D for short. This basically allows you to figure out where the light will be. If it's going behind a ridge line or when it rises above a mountain, you can project and forecast by date and time where the sun will be at different times. It also can help you look at the moon, and you can use other tools to figure out where the stars will be at different times, which is super helpful if you're planning a landscape shot. Next up is a good GPS app. There's a bunch out there. The one I choose to use is Gaia, G-A-I-A. It's great because you can download offline maps. The interface is really easy to use. You can save waypoints and navigate and measure distance along trails, and it's just really helpful to figure out where you are, especially if the main activity I use it for is skiing, when conditions can quickly turn to whiteout and it's super tough to navigate. Having a GPS is essential. Another photo app I use is called Photo Pills. This helps you predict, again, where the sun will be at different times. It gives you a quick overview of the day in terms of sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, all those different parameters with a quick, easy to view screen. And then it also gives you kind of some 3D, you can point your phone around and see where the sun will be at different times. And it gives you an overlay of where the sun is on the landscape using the gyro motors in your phone, which is really helpful if you can scout a location beforehand. If you aren't able to be on site, those features aren't as useful. You can use some other tools through Photo Pills, but the on-site one is the one that I find to be most useful. Next up, I recommend the Google Voice app. This is an awesome app that allows you to have a separate phone number that gets forwarded to your personal line for your business, or from your business line to your personal line. And it allows you to have a lot of features that I find quite useful. You can set hours for when it will ring. You can set who it will forward to, and it gives you a lot of customization. And that way you don't have to be, putting your personal cell phone number on your website. You can have a Google Voice line and it will go through to your personal cell phone. The last thing I recommend in terms of apps is an app called Peak Finder. This one's kind of just for fun, but it allows you to pan around at a landscape, assuming you've downloaded that area or you have cell service, and you can see what all the peaks are on the horizon. So if you wonder, what's what you're looking at, it gives you a quick overview and tells you the elevation of all those peaks that you can see, which is really fun if you're out hiking. I've had a great time, and it helps you kind of learn over time the landscapes that you visit. Another thing that I didn't have in my backpack at the moment, but I grabbed it off the shelf, is a radio. A radio is essential if you're going to be out of cell service. Being able to communicate with athletes or back to, kind of like a home base type location, having a radio is essential. I find it super useful. It just makes things so much faster, and you can tell people, hey, do that again, or you can tell people, okay, I'm in position, go ahead, that type of thing. Get a set of radios. They're really make things a lot smoother when you're on set. Lastly, I wanted to talk through a couple things that are a little bit less exciting. Cameras are fun, but if you're going to be a photographer, you're going to need some kind of client management software. We use Tave. It's designed for a variety of photographers. It's basically a client management software that you can plug in all the information about a shoot, and it will put it on your Google Calendar. It allows you to set a series of tasks that you need to do for pre-production, post-production, and schedule those out, and just make sure that you have everything kind of dialed in one location. You can go in there. It also has accounting software, but we tend to use QuickBooks. So for accounting, that's just a really widely known software that is powerful. It also has integrated payroll and some other business features that are super helpful. It's great if you can take pictures, but you have to be able to run a business, and using some of those tools make your life so much easier, and it will make you organized and professional. So I highly recommend you get those set up. With that in mind, definitely have a client delivery software in mind. There's a ton of options out there, but delivering photos via Google Drive is just not very professional. It doesn't allow you to, have the client make selections and easily import those, export those. It's important to have a visually pleasing software program that I think will make your client experience that much better. So that's all I have for you in terms of gear, but I have one bonus tip, and that is that gear is good, but business is better. So as I kind of mentioned, having that business software and planning in place will allow you to be profitable, to make money. And buying cameras is fun, but in the end, the goal is to turn a profit so that you can get paid for your work and make more photos and be successful. So making sure that you don't get all hung up on the gear and realize that having some business sense is super important. There's nothing worse than having too much gear and not enough money. So make sure you keep that in mind. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found some of this information helpful. And if you did, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. We're going to be doing some more videos. And if you have any comments, leave them down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much.